Greetings, classmates. This is Mitchell Vanling's family multi-engine trip video for class AVI A430. So I have my PowerPoint presentation here. That didn't open. All right, the demonstration of CRM is the first topic we're going to talk about, and managing all resources available. So managing all resources available on a family multi-engine trip, for one instance, would be using my family as a crew member to read checklists and keep eye out for traffic. Two examples. And then proper use of automation and management in all phases of flight. I did my trip in ForeFlight from Pittsburgh regional airport near Pittsburgh to Salina, Kansas. Not much familiar with this part of the country at all, but I did it in ForeFlight, and I put waypoints of airports, major airports along the way to as places to land if needed, if I had an emergency, and also for some reason if the winds were much worse than forecasted, I could drop in for get some gas. I planned the trip in a Baron 58. I don't have one of those yet, but maybe I will at some point. It's the trip itself is 5 hours and 4 minutes. It's 826 nautical miles, and it's forecasted as right now at this time as a 25 knot headwind. So that'd be a little bit painful. And I planned the trip as VFRs because this trip is supposed to be as a private multi-engine pilot, which I might be a little more qualified than that. Okay, and then areas of risk management and making decisions. I used risk management to figure out that I wanted some secondary airports, alternate airports along the route, to make sure I had places to land in case I needed to get gas. And task management throughout the flight. Like I said, I would use my family for checklist reading and looking for traffic, and then using aeronautical decision making, the PAVE checklist, the pilot, the aircraft, the environment, and the mission. So the pilot is me. I'm fine. I'm healthy. Got a current medical. The aircraft is I'm an AMPIA as well, so the aircraft is current annual and ready to go. No squawks. I don't like squawks on airplanes. And then the environment. It looks like it's marginal VFR in Pittsburgh for the takeoff, and then we'll climb up above the altitude. I plan on cruising at 12,000 feet, and then 12.5. And the weather in Salina, Kansas is totally VFR, so about halfway across the trip, across the country, it turns from marginal to more marginal to all VFR over here. And there isn't really any CFIT to worried about, but I do have on this version with Stratix in my airplane, I have synthetic vision. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. What am I doing here? Anyway, I have synthetic vision on my iPad. I also have it in my iPad in my airplane on my yoke, so it's very helpful to be able to avoid mountains. But there aren't any mountains along this route of flight that are very high, so it should be pretty easy to avoid mountains. And then managing the flight, I'm just going to keep an eye on my gas, my fuel levels, and make sure the aircraft's leaned out. So okay, it says to cover the use of a minimum equipment list. There isn't a minimum equipment list for small airplanes like this. You have to use the FAR 91, I think it's 109, I think, for the equipment required in an airplane. And then normal operations with 2 engines. And for some reason this isn't working very well, and then airplane pre-flight inspection. Like I said, I'm an IA, ANPIA, so my aircraft will be pre-flighted and the aircraft will be good. Check tires and the oil and the fuel samples and put the aircraft, fuel the aircraft to fuel required, and the fuel required for this trip is, I didn't do max fuel because I'd have been overweight. So I get the flight log here and go through, and block fuel is 156 gallons. So, and I'll land with 22 reserve, so it's pretty comfortable. And then use of aeronautical decision making. I'm going to fly the airplane as a private pilot with my family on board in VFR conditions. The risk of travel is, there's always risk of flying because you're not on the ground, but I feel that having a multi-engine aircraft is better than a single engine aircraft because you have engine redundancy. And make a safe flight to Salina. And this also gives me the weather. I can go through the whole entire weather brief, but it's not going to do that today. So thanks for your attention.